Alright, I'm not doing great. I've only just woke up and I'm already, I don't know how to get through this. I don't know how to stop this feeling or these thoughts. I feel like my life has just been crushed. Like, there is no way I can go back to my life after the last year that I've lived. There's no way that I could spend the rest of my life with the memories and the realization that my own family truly despises me to this point. Like, my aunt literally went and left apple juice at my little brother's grave. She actually did that. And people tell me, well, get over it. I can't. How do you get over somebody pissing on your disabled brother's grave? How do you just get over that? And she'll never apologize for it. She'll never admit that she was wrong. And she was. And she is. And I'm living a life in hell because of the control and the power that the internet has given her. Before the radio shows, the news shows started contacting her, she didn't know how badly she could hurt me still. I had managed to escape her. I had to give up the entire family. I had to give up the inheritance. I knew that none of those things would ever happen because it would mean bringing her back into my life. And I gave up on them, and then these radio shows brought her back into my life anyway. And everybody keeps insisting, but she's not abusive. It's perfectly normal to piss on disabled children's graves. That's not abusive. But it is. It is. It's extremely abusive. Only an abusive person would even think to go and do something like that. And the reason she did it was because she needed to prove Adonis Paul was not a liar. He raised $1,500 to go piss on my little brother's grave, and Kathy had to make sure that that was not a lie, that his integrity stayed intact. By desecrating my brother. The only person in this family that I really had aside from my grandmother. And I'm not allowed to have either of them, you know? Kathy and my sisters, they claim that I never loved my grandmother. I never cared about her, just her money. So I'm not allowed to have her. They say that I never cared about my brother, so I'm not allowed to have him either. If I didn't care about my brother, why does it hurt so bad what they've done? Would it hurt this bad if I was just hurting for me? I don't know. I don't know. But I know every day I think about my little brother, and I think about the fact that his own aunt went to his grave and did that. And it tears me up. And I can't understand how it's happening. Like, This isn't the way people are supposed to be. This isn't the way families are supposed to be. They're not supposed to want to hurt you. But mine does. Family is supposed to love you. I don't know what love is, because the family I was put into didn't know what love was. They only know what drugs and money are, and how to create more soulless people that will care only about drugs and money. The family is supposed to support you. And I've never had any support from this family. I've never had anything but being belittled and put down, even when I wasn't a failure. You know, I was the only one of my family that graduated high school. And during that time, it wasn't a big deal because everybody was mad at me and hating me. Like, my little sister was always making fun of me and telling me that boys weren't gonna like me because I was always reading and I needed to wear makeup and I was too fat. And my older sister was having her own kids by that point. But it definitely didn't matter to her whether I graduated because she didn't graduate, so it just made her more jealous of me. It was just another thing that I did that she didn't do. She had kids and I didn't do that. Do I get to be jealous? When I went to my high school prom, my mom was jealous of me. And a few years later, she brought that up. My mom once actually blamed me for her not going to her prom, simply because she was angry that I got to go to mine. I wasn't born when my mom's prom. I wasn't even conceived. I wasn't the first child. That would have been my older sister. But my mom never had a prom because she dropped out of school at 13. And I most definitely did not force her to do that. But that's how this family works. They always blame somebody else. And they get so angry and they want vengeance for something that the person did not do. Kathy is so desperate to get revenge on me right now for things that I did not do. She's accused me of killing my grandmother. And she's shown you absolutely no evidence that I would ever hurt my grandmother. She went to Florida, she said she was going to talk to people, and then nothing came of it. And when nothing comes of it, they won't apologize and say that they're wrong. They'll just say, we need to look further. We need to find more people. They won't ever just accept that I'm not this terrible monster. I talk too much. That's my big crime. That's why they wouldn't let me see a therapist when I was a kid, because I talk too much. And they couldn't have me talking about things that they didn't want people to know about. I'm still talking about things that they don't want people to know about. And I'm not. That hasn't changed. Through all of the accusations, my story has not changed. And I don't know if any of y'all can really comprehend how hard this is, but it is my own family rallying these allegations against me, my own family. Every time they get upset, they'll say that they're filing criminal charges against me, and then nothing ever comes of it. And if I bring it up, they'll say, just wait. Just wait, you'll be in prison soon enough for what we've done. You'll be locked up, you'll be hurt, we're gonna hurt you. Don't worry, we're going to find a way to legally hurt you for speaking out. And that's not the way family is supposed to be. Family is supposed to love. Family is supposed to care. I was homeless for 5 years. Normal families would be happy that I was online where people could keep track of me. Even if I was miserable, they would be able to know that I was still alive. In a normal family, that would mean something. The constant reminder that I'm still alive is not a reminder my family wants. They're waiting for the videos to stop. They're waiting for my existence to end. And what happens then? What happens after I die? Do you just find another family member to hate? How's it gonna feel when you're the one that the family turns on because they desperately need somebody to blame for all of their pain? Because for the past decade or so, it's been me. And I can't shoulder the blame for this entire family's hurt. I can't even shoulder my own hurt. And a lot of people are going to say, well, I do blame my family for all of my problems. No, I don't. I want them held accountable for the trauma that I suffer. That's not saying that everything is their fault. It's not the same. Saying that your parents were abusive and you were traumatized is not... It's not the same as your abusive mother saying that she didn't go to prom because of you, who wasn't born until maybe 15 years later. Right? Like, they're not gonna, nobody's gonna understand that. Nobody's ever gonna understand me. Nobody's ever gonna believe me. My family has made sure that nobody's ever going to believe me. But that won't stop me. I've lived my whole life knowing nobody was ever going to believe me or care about me, and it hasn't stopped me from being honest. I've been really struggling this past month in making plans. Plans to just disappear. And then fighting those plans. I bought a notebook. I bought 2 actually. The other one is in my backpack, which is packed and ready to go at any second. I don't know where I'll go. I don't have any place to go. But my mind wants to run away and escape. And I have to fight it and tell myself that I can't, that there's no place to go. That if I stick it out, it has to get better. But does it? Sometimes it doesn't get better. Sometimes life is hell and it stays hell. And it never gets better. I did write a little bit in the book. Some of the things that have changed this year since these channels started using my videos. I don't have a phone anymore. I've canceled the service because I'm afraid to have an active service because they call me. Sometimes they get my number, and if they get my number, it's over. And I got so scared of them getting my number again that I just had the phone cut off. I'm not on medication anymore. Y'all know that. I'm also not in therapy, and I don't have a doctor anymore. Because I was in therapy and on medication. And then last year, because of the talk shows that are talking about me and lying about me, they said that I didn't have any mental health issues, that I was faking everything. And it made somebody in Australia angry. And this person in Australia contacted my therapist and threatened my therapist if they didn't lock me in a mental hospital. My therapist, my doctor, the whole mental health facility received harassing, threatening emails and phone calls because they refused to bow and lock me in a mental hospital because I said that it would not help me. I've always been very clear that being locked up is a trigger for me, that if I'm in a mental hospital, I can't actually receive any help because the only thing I'm thinking about is escaping that locked door. And you can't help somebody who is focused only on escaping because they're not listening to you. You can't medicate that out of somebody either. PTSD is something that cannot be medicated. It has to be worked around. And part of my PTSD is being locked up, especially being locked up in mental facilities, because in Florida, they would Baker-act me for anything. I was in and out of those fucking mental hospitals in Florida, and it was hell. And I can't do it again. In California, it's not so easy to have somebody locked up. And the woman in Australia found that out, and she got angry, and she started threatening. And then when my therapist left, they offered me a new therapist. And I didn't go because I was afraid that the new therapist would start receiving the harassment that the old one did. And I didn't want another person to go through the same hell that I'm going through just because they're trying to help me. So I haven't had a therapist since then. And because I wasn't in therapy, my insurance was turned off. And I wasn't able to get my medication. I don't know if anybody's gonna understand how that correlates to it being because of what has been happening online, but if it wasn't for the people online lying and denying my mental health issues, the woman in Australia never would have started contacting my mental health providers, and I never would have this fear that receiving help was gonna cause somebody else to be threatened. I'm afraid now. I'm afraid of having a phone. I'm afraid of having a friend because I don't know who is really there for me and who is just trying to manipulate me to get information out of me that they can use to hurt me. I'm afraid of having money because people get so angry if I have even $1. People get so mad at me. that I'm literally afraid to have money. If I have money, I spend it and I get what I want. I can't hold on to it because if Adonis Paul found out that I had $5, that I was holding on to that $5, I'd feel like he would hurt me. And part of me is aware that that is an irrational belief, but it is what I'm dealing with. I'm afraid of having fun. Because every time I seem slightly happy, they increase the torment. They get angry and say, "Oh, you're trying to be big now. You're so big and strong today. We'll see how you feel tomorrow. See you smiling. We'll see how fast that smile fades. See how quickly we can take it away." When I wasn't smiling to intimidate or threaten them, I was just genuinely trying to have a good time. And now I'm afraid of doing that. I'm afraid of being seen enjoying life, because if I'm enjoying myself for even a second, these people are gonna get mad and they're gonna start attacking me again. They're gonna take it as an insult. And I don't understand why. I'm afraid of police because I'm always waiting to be arrested for crimes that I didn't commit. They've got people believing that I'm a murderer, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with people hating me for crimes that I did not commit. They've said multiple times they're going to get the Kenneth McBride case reopened, and I'm waiting to be arrested for that. They've said that they're going to have me arrested for killing my grandmother, and I'm waiting to be arrested for that. Kathy said she went to Florida to get the proof of that, and then nothing ever came of it. But if you ask it, you'll just say, "No, just keep waiting. Just keep waiting." Do you know how just depressing it is to just keep waiting to be arrested for a crime that you did not commit, but you know people are setting you up for, currently gathering information to set you up for? It's just, there's no happiness. There's no joy. There's no quality of life for me at this point. And I don't know what to do. I have nobody that I can turn to. I have no family. Literally none. And that's not a lie. The only family I have is here on YouTube, telling you all that I'm worthless garbage and always have been. And people say, "Well, nobody's ever gonna love you unless you love yourself," which means that nobody's ever going to love me, because I do not know how to love myself. I was not raised to love me. I was raised to hate me. Just like everybody else in my family. We were raised to hate each other. Hate each other and hate anybody that's doing slightly better than us, because they somehow took it from us. My mom was always so envious of everybody else. She would take us trick-or-treating and tell us to get a good look at those rich houses and all the things that we would never have. They could have had so much more if she drank less, or they did less drugs, or they broke less in their fights. But instead, my mom would just get mad that other people had more. Other people that probably weren't on crack had more. Other people that probably didn't have 5 kids had more. Who cares? Why is it so important to people to have things, to have better things, to have more things? I don't give a shit about things. I don't care if I ever own anything. Because that's what everybody else wants. They want things. Things don't matter. Things can't hug you at night. Things can't make you feel like you're worth living. They're just fucking things.